Okay, I was here for yeah, the BBS so I join here and so beam. Yeah, Babeka football. Yeah, Babeka Liverpool. In common be bring now be Liverpool in the first part. Actually, I switch it to other issues. Weekend the Liverpool yeah, ne Burnley boy. They were home. Ekoye 1-1 draw. We actually na supporters ni be a huru team no mo huru coach. Who is a modern morning na bad sir and as a result
Uh, yeah. The more muting I read masses or more till subscribing or more share on a daily basis. For the first time, men can say men fan to manager the Subi because my comment yaka the way after our losing run, the Shaz say we want to first of all try not to lose the game. They were going and when it's in boring as a handbrake now. Yeah, but this one is a little bit different because we were on the front foot, we were moving the ball, trying to create chances, unlucky in a few situations. Clinicality in the whole this season at all. If you know shares chances created in the Premier League this season, I think it's top 2, top 3 account on. So goal scoring or L4. Giddy, giddy, giddy. And the frustrating part about it Liverpool fan be na ama omu boo manager and any players is because of it's not good enough. No matter chances are we create fine, we create chance 20 man share. So we can't really label that on entirely on the manager, but still, this is a promoted team, 3 promoted sides now bound for. When it's may really back cry, that's unacceptable. So I feel that that's where the frustration really comes from, not just about the performance on the day. Because I thought that the performance on the day we deserve to win the game, but unfortunately, it's my winning game.
we try first half. Na enke you deserve say you bet me a share. Na nka was it me share more than one goal first half no because you share first half na you say penalty. First half you say penalty. Aside that no you create some decent chances. I think so munya one clearance off the line in the first half and the second half no so more clear another ball on their line. Inti first half na yenti me anche bebre no but it looked a bit easy because near create chances no. Second half nearby, no. Right before first half, you share go. Second half, you buy no na. When is a players no, they were taking it too easy. Now say, the ball ni diago.
Yeah, that's true. Half no. Even just at the start of the game, Kenya Charles Biana also ball crossing very early, but to delay Emma defender. And then there was the suicide penalty. There was the vet passing ball Gapu boy at share we in a defender and a clear free line. See, we in the previous ones now equity chances, kind chances near low quality chances. We near very high quality chances that we should have scored, but unfortunately, into man share. Second half, na acquire say they were normal per se or take your more time as much as possible on a chance no. They as a one person be forced no, meaning say it was instruction from the manager say or go that way or not. I wasn't really sure, but second half no, the chance creation in Timinia as clear cut as the Timinia in the first half. And narrative, and Kasubo shared the first penalty kicker. Things might have been different.
Me okay second half ne so I is a Burnley for no almost the same baby because it looks like second half normal press more. Inti na you try see a bobo ni free actually on. Idea wa kwa me de be criticize him since last season or by or now no. You mean control games. No matter how poor the opposition is, you mean control game for 90 minutes. And only ye aim and ye aim for this season. Say last season, no can be the intimate and win a Champions League and I say anko any more Champions League. Into not this season, no, yeah, that made me when is a manager and a percent ultimate control games more and into the vets more and those kind of players in the BEM. Players are omonim bornable. They are not just goal scorers. but still it looks like you didn't control game no matter what we try to do. Say even cry, you see you holding on to the ball near passing around that. Very difficult for us. You want to say didn't you struggle with that?
Didn't I struggle with that? It's a combination of issues. First of all, players, almost form now no last season. The drop off now has been massive. Say team, that's a more year the core members of the team or performance a baffle. That's a new signings are also in team and settle in very earlier. Then it's a recipe for disaster. That's one thing. But the more concerning thing, we were too far ahead and Yaji League in every intina. We were attributing it to Yaji League in every, so well, I mean we'll excuse it. But it continued into the new season. Your first 5 matches are you winning on the trot ground. Still now who say you control games for a consistent period of time. Inti, firstly, Maka players nothing. Secondly, a manager. And example, I remember game ya a board draw ya. You who say in recent times, especially a game like your boy in Tamalan, you Curtis Jones playing deeper, our receive ball. He is better when it comes to ball retention, you progressive ball. But meaning dainty all of a sudden, Nancy so static Curtis Jones square or market Jones in yes, no market Jones I could deeper on the last line on it vet and so was like echo deeper. Curtis Jones and so ne esana yimhu ne best quality no. As a Gravenberg ne McAllister now we saw a bit deeper. McAllister takes too much touches. In the time beyond the opposition any more they are able to set up defensively very easy. CC because the intimate move ball as quickly as we should need to. The opposition are able to set up their defensive lines very early and very quickly. Some of it stems from the manager. The other issues is to do with the players. There's a third issue, Makada. The third issue is teams are starting to say Liverpool no and yet that much dangerous be. We can have a go at them. It is a mobile Anfield cry. The other even issue a man for game bar, so it's the Anfield factor. Anfield na yabeshe a Sunderland abebo draw 1-1. Na their faces look disappointed because they can get us. They can get at us right now. Even when we seem to have so much control in games. Intimate control games.
May share the way at this season AC call. Now may they compare other seasons. Question now yeah maybe some honest. Liverpool nyasa situation will be. Have we gone through this situation before? And always the answer may the mommy honey say yes. We've been through this situation before.
Twice.
And say idea Liverpool team. Sa bad run of form way bad performance like completely bad season way. We've gone through it before. No matter who the manager is. Inti say you blame manager na ya na me yakakra because again club time. Club the 9 years at Liverpool. Man, it say my refi 9 years in Liverpool we need Premier League once. On your very good seasons, I think you beat me but you beat me I say be I were unlucky. But there were certain seasons where season anko ye kura. And any reason behind tia season anko ye. This season no, we can have so many reasons. I have valid reasons in tia season in koye. Into me who say it's not all on the manager. Number one, a recruitment. Any players are a toy. It's not all on the manager. Say a kofa players are ye jaya home empty. Ewa chiri honum in midfield, defensive midfield. Wait me I can see jaya home empty. Yan planning ye Diaz a free team on the left hand side. We left ourselves empty. Inti nanka you bet me a better with recruitment. Secondly, player form. Player form need the way at this season, individual players as you are dropping in form. Individual players mistakes. Cost matches be even before this round of form I lose you. Most of it in all the best say players form. So we a manager. That's a opposite winning games. Ball tactics. We BBR to motivate players. Say players now cause a performance no format. Sometimes they so we turn things around. The same thing, I'll go back to you again, club. When you're a similar situation in the 2020-21 season, when to me and turning around, in the end, solution a boy am I to me build a run of form, ASA or the academy boys too, a ball defense. Meanwhile, they were in the team all that while. Right from the beginning of the season, no more team anymore. But when you zoom, or ball midfielders will defense, I may share to the extent that Crystal Palace bring up a share. But I don't know. Yeah, the question say, COVID supporters in the stadium. I don't think you lose one field. But we've gone through this before.
After so many years.
Yes. In Crawford, manager no. Me shemu pa never me ya say or go through all this because what shows that he's a good manager. The only thing ama say no and Crawford who say he might not be the right person to turn things around. Say until me and connect a team no with the crowd. Emma supporters name who said the way I see Bono, we should get behind the team. I said a too boring, a too slow. And only the only criticism I make I said Ama and Crawford who said it looks like the air course on a being cedar, but me who say be a cedar. In the 2022-23 season, again club the team the defeat. The performances were even worse. Me when he said it was even worse. We were running around trying to create chances, but defensively it was poor. And even attacking wise, we weren't able to break teams down. To the extent that Brighton and Hove Albion deserve to share back to back, almost like throughout the season, deserve to share by 5 times. And even I don't know, player turn around in that season. The only player of free team name was money. Apart from money, no biya. The only signing I had the Bemu na Diaz, who came in January, the previous January. Until no one settled in that. But that season, the Darwin Nunes so by. That season,
Darwin value.
Until that season when I come, maybe when is that still the manager has to be given time. Maybe when is that this particular season. We should just write the Premier League off. If we have anything to do a Champions League, any FA Cup, Premier League, our best is going to be 4th or 5th. Because, who's a team, ready. They weren't ready for the season. They had an uninterrupted preseason. Because preseason now, Jota issue no buy. Maybe when they say affected preparations for the season massively. I don't even think they were training on most days. Because of that issue. It affected the whole preparation for the season. And a season is starting and so still players, the team, the manager are dealing with the aftermath of Jota tragedy. And the can be affected team. And this is saying no cry na yet me enya round of games I ain't lose you yet. Maybe when is a good turnaround. Because we were always going to be in for an up and down season. You been a good performance, but it's the say that is it. And yes, a performance in your crowd because against Arsenal, we can play well, we can control games.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we do it against Burnley? That's the question I ask myself. Into a manager no, and I watch that say Burnley no my born here. It's not the case. The players just couldn't handle the situation, and it drew big games now. Players no have the intrinsic motivation, like they're able to bring it out of themselves. But against certain opposition, no, and sometimes a championship winning seasons and ultimately on a consistent basis. This season is the season is just not for us. No matter what the manager does, it is just not for us. And sometimes I think that I was a cutting manager now some slack, because even Jurgen Klopp I say he's the best manager ever to coach Liverpool in our lifetime. No? He struggled in some seasons. Even the last season. Also, Jurgen Klopp last season or struggle. But it was the latter end of the season in the end and can be brave and new players in Subem. But the way he started the season, not can see a finishing this up. But we ended up finishing quite poorly in that season. Quite disappointing way of finishing the season. But it was Jurgen Klopp. Does that make Jurgen Klopp a bad manager? It doesn't. Because every manager be at me a bad season. Into the fact that Slot in a bad season, no. Me when say entirely down to him. Said team not perform badly. Of course, there are certain things he could have done better. Or be anywhere or cast or make mistakes. But at the same time, me when it's a boost like also stadium one, it wasn't the right thing. And Liverpool is not that kind of team. It looks like they say we are behaving like some other teams. Almost supporters, all they want is results. Because this performance now, yes, this performance now you boo
some of the newer fan base. You're not used to it.
Say if it is based on this particular performance, then there's no justification for it. Because this particular game, there's no reason to boo the manager. Because manager, they're a manager, and could beat me differently to change the result of this game. Just that we just couldn't deliver on the pitch. Marseille airball in the Champions League on Wednesday. It looks like this Liverpool team more suited to big games like this in Europe. When you say your chances saying the city, you bet me I call your result.
Yeah, I think we have a very good chance. A very very good chance because of how I believe Marseille will set up. And said we know what we struggled with this season with long balls and all those sorts of set piece issues that we struggle with the second balls and they kick home. But you need to say Roberto De Zerbi, he's those modern coaches now, they never want to go away from what they do. No matter the position they are playing, they want to play their way. Until him say he would like to pass out from the back. To say they know you're right and this is something we a bit more used to our advantage. Because Roberto De Zerbi teams he said they never really go away from that. That is something I mean when they say a bit me I go in favor of us and trying to press them from the front. To say the idea Aston Villa when they came to Anfield, a similar kind of situation which we can benefit from it. Against Marseille, you make sure say in terms of your personal and you say because they are playing from the back and until we go gang ho because we also know that about ye fin say or starting McAllister or whoever it is in that midfielder, if they are able to bypass our first presser, you born it to a chair, you go. They will say making sure say we will be strategic in how I ever press them, how I ever set it up off the ball, all men behind the ball. Now you're making sure say me who is a ball we shouldn't be too much concerned about say we keep a lot of possession. Because we are going away to Marseille. Marseille, the onus is on them to beat us. Indeed, we should be strategic about how we set up off the ball and then on the ball. We need to be very quick on the transition. Or see a movie ball a lot quicker. They are making sure say on our backline there will be spaces behind, especially if they are able to bypass our press and then we are able to overload them in midfield. Now you're making sure that they can't go through the middle. They will have to go through the sides. It will give us a bit of space down their flanks on the transitions. They will go out wide with Ekitike running in behind, stretching their back line, creating space for someone like a Vets to, do his thing in the final third of the. That is what I'll be looking forward to. Liverpool versus Marseille.
They said losing against Burnley, no. My boys, even more motivation to perform better in this game. They say, you can see that the boys are themselves in their head. They say, Lucy, draw knife boy, so draw big or change loose. Draw big or change loose. The doing is the best pair, like a bit motivated to correct their wrongs in this game. And who is a similar performance to Arsenal away, any who this game and away to similar performance to the performance away to Inter. Any who
I think it will be much similar to Inter because Inter, so the way they set up, the way I almost when I'm sure more in this area, the way they like to keep possession under Christian Chiu, it's a bit similar to how I think Marseille would do. And Oshe Arsenal, because we knew we're playing against top of the table Arsenal, we showed them a bit more respect. And they weren't committing too many bodies forward. But against Marseille, I think would be a bit more riskier in terms of putting more men, in their forward areas, trying to get more men into the box and try and score some goals. Me who say it would be a little bit more adventurous than we were against Arsenal, but similar. Just say, and also against Arsenal, so the way after the first half, now we sat deep and tried to hit them on the break. Now we didn't really get out. Second half, we controlled the game, but not without the ball like we did in the first half. Second half, the ball was with us. We were controlling the game, keeping the ball and making sure they didn't have that opportunity to pin us back a bit. In situations where we are able to build some momentum and get more into the game, you better have some possession. That is what we ultimately also need to do. Say, especially say, yeah, we match penny or back be pre. Yes, answer the pressure will be very, very high. They be making sure say in times where possession, you be making sure say you control the game as much as, especially if see it's the first goal. The first goal, that would be early first goal. That would be the key for us to on and get.
Yeah, I think that you must say a more very hostile crowd in Tino. I was here try to say silence a crowd. No, say to me silence a crowd. Just like Arsenal. I want to say Arsenal is silence a crowd. You're frustrated crowd. No, in the Drew baby now. Arsenal fans no push say players no Emma out me press it, but I'm about to the ball. When it goes back to the American, say players if they want to control the game, if they are highly motivated and they are on it, they can do it. But sometimes they are just not on it. In lineup, actually, it looks like the same back five and a ball. Allison, Jeremy Frimpong, Kerkes, Konate Van Dijk. If you feel why now best starting? If you the two pivots, no.
If you McAllister game not the man against Arsenal. Mention them who Nisa him after that. Until I'll go for Curtis Jones alongside Ryan Gravenberg. Me personal control now Curtis Jones in the Bayern. Me pedal control to make call for Jones Gravenberg. Now I call Soboslai on the right, but ordinarily he will drift into midfield now. Jeremy Frimpong are provided with in my then Florian Benz on the left. And then Hugo Ekitike up front. And the way a game Melos Kerkesh will have to be on his game because more missing Greenwood. He's a bit similar.
Florian Wirtz on the left, one over 10. One can't 10.
Hey, Mejabaku. Some Maka, Meka, Curtis Jones, Gravenberg, Soboslai, Namaka Bet. Oh, then it means McAllister has to start because then it means McAllister will start. Me person can get for Pepem second half more. Me person can get for Pepem second half. Now go and start McAllister. Now McAllister might more
less. With 5 midfielders.
The unpacking 15. McAllister 10 now, but born in yet 10 now will be creative chances. Ne 10 never more of steady. You be a John McGinn from Aston Villa. A 10 bats, a 10 redraw 10 Nibia. And Nubina McAllister have a ball 8.5 position. 8.5 exactly.
Okay. In the prediction, results burn out here beat me and I draw and I win and I lose the minimum. Say I don't think they will lose this game, but when is a bad draw and I win.
I think they beat my winning game week. I don't know why, but as I'm go who say game we give I beat my win. The key I said I make an or attack can be brain on their right hand side or mixing greenwood. Progression, build up and be pre it ends up on the right hand side because in Finfino or Tembiano or moon your booth one home Finfino. Pierre may or be more Finfino. And then any more reason why I perceive need damage for battle. It's my same Finfino. Just out wide or more, they don't really creep through the center. The out wide is very, very important. And also counting me say my bucket is John Gravenberg said about Baku ultimately always move out to the sides for a bit more protection.
Okay. Other games. Arsenal and Inter. Arsenal don't have to win that game.
Yeah, Arsenal here 1 point. I finish top 8. Just 1 point.
Yeah, indeed, I don't know, but knowing Arteta and here I know Akobon is starting 11. So person will win the game. Who does this argue the record say?
That game now saying Inter struggled to score goals. I think said the last game and started. Saying now he had a bit of injury. Score goals and create a lot of chances in it. Me is Arsenal be winning game. I don't know why, but see, me is Arsenal be winning game because me say he will go or best. He will start his first 11. He will go so 3 points in this one, or maybe for the last round of games. So now or the Louis Kelly no got my available.
But almost they say more form in the league then should I great
Yeah,
I was saying
as much as I make
take a for this game because you don't have to finish first. Maybe when they said their priority should be the league. Indeed, given their form in the league, can I rest some players for this game if I were to be Arteta, but I said they all kind of start the players, and they don't have a good record at Inter and even Italy. I don't think they have a very good record indeed. It's going to be a difficult game anyway. Before I see a back on your time, I spent 30 minutes already. Share weekend. Manchester United and City and after Chelsea, so Liam Rossinior and also Ababenya win in a difficult game. It was a difficult game, but ultimately,
very
a winning game. Inti uhun is a Carrick Rossinior conversation. Saying is it here.
Carrick was in your conversation, except for now, the Carrick I carry the day. Match no, man, make studio by studio and I say match no give my to us 3 days. Give it my boy 3 days. Nanka Man City nyanshi. 3 days. Nanka Man City nyanshi. Man United were absolutely perfect. It was a 10 over 10 performance from Ubia. United, the boys they were on it. The issue with Arsenal is that Arsenal, the way now Manchester United are dominating midfield. Because it's your Rodri. There was even a point in the game, there was a pass. Michel Rodri, the way movie, no prize will be intercepted pass. Then the sharpness must still now Rodri sharpness in shade anyway. Rodri only 100% paired with Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden. Legs in shade any few but Arsenal or those kind or Declan Rice or no Subimendi. Phil Foden after the game say no money in the Man United babe. No money in the Man United babe. All those are still the body of work in his sovereignty. Maybe Arteta and them exactly the Mike Carrick bay, but at least we know how he has played against Pep Guardiola. And he will have a better idea than what Pep Guardiola had. And facing Arsenal, it will be a lot tougher. A lot tougher. Also because Manchester United, the team, even when they were so bad previously in some of the big games, we've seen this before. Last season, they won, I think, 2-1 against Manchester City. The consistency part said, what should we the following? That would be the bigger challenge for Michael Carrick.
Liam Rosinian so Okowini uhu game ni saying na uhu ni say washa say implement BBA a new to Chelsea team na and so far we're convinced okakrana.
Liam Rosinian, the one thing I expected to see in terms of build up, or on a build up near much more structured, especially with building with involving more of the goalkeeper. Robert Sanchez, a short passing, a long passing, need more of it against Brentford. And after the game, Rosinia Beka said the player be any flu. I'll say the MC flu broke out in the dressing room. Players be almost war game, maybe complain on shut down for on the identity. Maybe a bit excuse your because performance in the Ukrainian on any other day, not Brentford the best really game. Brentford were very wasteful. One hit the pool. Matthias Jensen empty net, which virtually an empty goal. Not the pool with chances. They got Thiago chance. The other guy, very finity. Also, very good chance. Kevin Schade. Also, Entiman buried that chance. But Chelsea were more clinical. And then CC and the you need that momentum, especially with free small club and will be against will be feeling. Until we have some momentum going into games, whatever build some confidence. And win is a win. Although say they didn't play so well, but a win is a win. We'll see how he does in the subsequent games. We need enough for semi-assess, if say Chelsea now have a bit far now in fact. They change them open mommy a bit more body of work, then we can assess how he's doing.
Okay, yeah, you can see La Liga near here, Madrid and Barca lose against Real Sociedad. Madrid a team winning against Levante. And I saying Martins and Koboka say, oh, they say the race is back on. Premier La Liga near open. Now minim before say Barca be lose game win. Still not La Liga near open because 4 points there. Number of matches now can untiminka say na but say na nkrofo it is say almost nice someone say oh afede open but it was always open obi have it me age nti also Barca course win Madrid so almost course win I don't really see any say BBS, but when he said Madrid beat me, I could say surprise.
And Barcelona fan be me the same question. Say me when say Madrid beat Magiana. Now my question say from the Mahu this season and Madrid problem no, they are fighting against themselves because the whole home game as a supporters while play a touch ball now it's not really the best look. Even Florentino Perez they were booing him. Vinicius touching ball, Bellingham touching ball, they were booing him. They need to sort out those things very quickly. And we're here. I'm focusing on football. Now Abeloa Bano when the first win. Very good. Pressure and swat take a crack from someone so against Albacete. La Liga is there to be won because Barcelona team are watching say on a time bia so we need crana chances need the or concede bebree into maka at team way time and time again say La Liga need the only to imagine this way but in the Champions League so if you continue conceding and a chance don't conceding so high quality chances so but sometimes I just don't know say La Liga players no
One guy say and
they are so
in most times.
One guy say saving a lot more times. Or one to say bebree. Almost say bebree. Make I say even before last week, they have gone like 5 games and not keep clean sheets. But clean sheets, I will share big chances and not consider. Then you don't consider more than 2-3 big chances per game. It don't consider chance. One guy says saving a lot more time, but and yes sustainable. Clean sheets in hysterics down and yes sustainable. Until La Liga, it is still there to be won, in my opinion. Still now, me want to say Barcelona have a lot more in their armor because especially say Rafinha will game and real side that Rafinha will be. So Rafinha will Barcelona games more and the impact of war in terms of pressing from the front and they are there. So I think it's still in the hands of Barcelona. Meaning say at one point today, Real Madrid has a chance, but still now to take a lot for Real Madrid because me when they say Real Madrid they beat them up for run of games are winning consecutively 5, 6, 7 games. They said Barcelona. I don't know. Say Abalo and the boys will beat him up for 6, 7 games on the trot or win here. That would be the challenge. That was going to beat my answer. That is the only reason why I think say Barcelona are still the favorites for the La Liga.
Okay, yeah, fancy. Yeah, DC no yen fancy a Brian Afcon who has him. To say Abase Papitiao Senegal coach the abane no indefinitely. Who is saying? DC or final na say na was iguno. Because they are tested conspiracy theories be brave because could be ki aveka say yi if Fred is a yi for captain Senegal for captain no. If Fred is a defender. Koulibaly. Yes, Koulibaly say yi Diaz and him into on a ball penalty.
I'm ready for Vicky.
It is a drama really they see it. Who is say?
Where do I even start from? Yeah. The very first one I say because in Morocco will host the tournament. There's an agenda say Omo Morocco in terms of officiating. Nipa bebree it's a very easy sort of confidence and it's a decision 50-50 per. Na dream record say na see any science. When I say incident they see, first of all, Sadio Mane summed it up perfectly. Like I said, the referee can make a mistake, and I think the referee did make a mistake because our ball na Senegal shared the Hakimi top from na referee in foul. I didn't think it was a foul. It was very, very soft. Very, very soft. Hakimi cannot ball on share ball. He was just trying to prevent the defender from getting to the ball. Or top form now the whistle went too early. Whistle no contempt. VAR no mean to me intervene because whistle everything that happens afterwards is not a void. There was nothing the VAR could do.
VAR. They can't ask that question
I
because
think
the whistle had already gone.
yeah, they can ask that. Yeah, and when him say or tough for na penalty. Saying that the VAR now might share or more incidents in more which you can't really put that argument up because why whistle
Yeah. And an incident no correct.
and the penalty is incident in so and an incident in chair mono. I didn't know the one cause a ball no be. Now chain ya more penalty and sana because but another thing is when they say it is because say where I started from, say make us say there's a conspiracy say more wow mamuru kwaji any other into omo no sa adwene wo mutirim dada and me na me ESPN omo ka say Morocco for na kasa no in terms of Senegal for preparation omo be sure say omo ma Senegal for the hunto first of all security personnel just for security personnel omo free omo base omo ba baby a yebabo final no security personnel was there. Jomolande Airport, so only the general properties, normal people, normal person about Morocco, so Afcon. No, and I say just like that. And based on baby, I'm can pay before the final was on tree. Name Morocco for base, they could have been spied on. Inti, Sandy Monkeys in Kitty na Menya Cramba, Edward Mendia. Morocco still was never saw Moko fan a towel. Just say any marginal advantage be a Morocco for the Binya because this is it was disgraceful. It was disgraceful. It's in a bit out, go give a towel that. And
Yeah, we
sadly, I'm
almost
out
see
for a reason,
keepers no
and
more the BB go
I
omo
think they have
towel.
a point.
Almost say a drew almost the drew and I be good pool. It is almost any towel. Nti ɛno nti na ɔmo yɛ saa. It wasn't even about say bi ɔmo deny keeper no. Ɔmo dwen spirituality. Wo say Africa no. Sometimes they are dwen no. Ekoko didi baby.
Some we deny some spirituality, babe. In this animal
Nti
getting into so echo. It does.
nti na kyerɛ sɛ ɛyɛ teams ni mmienu nyinaa. But it looks like Nkrofo bought Senegal coach na cheap too much. But unprofessionalism also from both sides. From Senegal and Morocco, highly unprofessional behavior at the international stage and gain is enke kosokra. Inti ba na idea Senegal coaching. Me expect to say ombe punish Morocco for so for signing marketing kitting on we unprofessional. It shouldn't be part of the game. Indeed. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
One other thing is so I'm busy Mirizi. Does this cast a doubt 2030 World Cup? Say Morocco say now who stay World Cup, who say now who see Afcon over there. Should we allow them to host the World Cup in 2030?
People are going to raise concerns and
It's a concern.
they have every reason to. Yeah, Crawford raising concerns, but they have to be careful. See, I know the engine from them, but say and Crawford who said the economy, Sahane Beconi there, and there's going to be issues. Until they have to be careful.
No, but this is very bad for African football. Baby, African football and true now. The way say Ben go no crowd Bianca go no once. Papa guy is superb. But means that Senegal actually deserve the trophy.
Senegal deserve the trophy. They deserve the trophy. And not there will be to me and can't anything against that. And they deserve the trophy. But that behavior at the highest level of African football, this shouldn't happen.
Very
the
bad.
Disappointment. FNC, yeah, there will be as he said, Mr. Rosa, I subscribe here. Now I subscribe here, my now I like a video. Nothing, so no. Why am I who are doing today or comment section? And there must be brave.